So that was the small teaser Overkill have shown for the Walking Dead game, and today I'm going to be talking about how I feel about this teaser and what I'm expecting from the game. However, just to start this, I just want to say, because I think this is kind of obvious, this game cannot be compared to Telltale's The Walking Dead. That game is built more around story, and it does it really well. Overkill's version, I doubt it's going to be the same kind of method, as it's going to be more focused on co-op, so it'd probably be more like on the idea of Payday. So it will never be as good as Telltale's one, because that kind of made its own reputation, but it could be compared to Survival Instinct, which if it does as bad as that, then something is horribly wrong. Moving on to the trailer, we can see from the start how the graphics look, and they don't look amazing, but they don't look bad. This also could be the quality of the video because this was recorded from a stream, so keep that in mind. To me, personally, graphics aren't the best thing in the world. I might be a PC gamer, but graphics are not my number one focus. I'm more of a modder myself, but I focus on gameplay more than graphics, and I would rather have an amazing playing game with alright graphics rather than a game which looks stunning, however playing the game is really crap at launch. Now if we look at the trailer, it doesn't really explain much about the game itself. It's kind of just showing like random clips from the game, but what we can tell from this and what we can tell from the original teaser is, for starters, this game is set in Washington, so the same place as where the Payday crew are, so you never know, there might be a crossover in the future. But we also know from this teaser that one of the places we'll be visiting is a hospital, which in every zombie game, or anything to do with zombies, there's always a hospital because that's pretty much where it begins, and sometimes where it ends. While we're on the topic of the hospital, I did notice something in the trailer, which there's one part where it cuts to two doors banging open, or well, being beaten upon on the other side of the door by, I'm guessing, a horde, which brings up an idea for an aspect which I'm really hoping they bring into this game. So if anybody here knows about The Walking Dead, one of the most crucial things is about sound, and zombies are attracted to sound, so you kind of get the idea. So I'm kind of expecting with this game to be more stealth based, or more focused on melee weapons, so you don't make as much of a noise, so you can kind of keep the big horde out, but if you've got a gun, it's just there. But at the same time, I would be expecting not as much ammo compared to something like Left 4 Dead or Killing Floor, where you pretty much just have ammo leaking out of your pockets everywhere you are. Another thing I've noticed is at the start of the trailer you see someone in front of you who kind of moves in a way you'd expect an AI to move when you're at the start of a game, like a tutorial or something. This kind of brings up the idea of, will there be characters in this game which, instead of you playing as them, they're kind of NPCs to kind of lead you to where you need to be, which for this kind of game would work to an extent. I mean, with a co-op survival game, it's kind of like, oh, you'd be playing as everyone, but it would be nice to have, like, every couple of missions, just have one AI is like, oh, I'm crucial for this bit because of blah blah blah. Kind of like how Hoxton is in Hoxton's Breakout, even though you can play as Hoxton afterwards, but there's still the AI version there. Moving on to the end of the trailer, there's 4 shadows of 4 people standing there, kind of how in Left 4 Dead 1 and Left 4 Dead 2 you got the silhouettes of each character standing there. Now, as you can see, there's 4 people, of course, and one's like brutish male, one looks like a mother, that is just going by stereotypes of course, another one looks like a teenage girl in like 18, 19 kind of age group, and then the final, which I find quite interesting, is a child. Now, in The Walking Dead you've got children in it, and they're quite cruel in a way with some of the children, like one killing her own sister. Sorry, should have said spoilers there, but by now you should know, so I'm sorry. But the idea of having a child in a game, for one, it would get banned in a lot of places depending on how gruesome the game goes, but it's still a nice idea. So it kind of brings more of a story into it, and it started to get me think, what if this is like a family of, like, all the 4 characters are just a family together, but there's also much to be for the trailer's sake. And the final thing I'd like to talk about today is something that really bothered me with this trailer, and that is basically, if you notice the position of the gun, it's quite low down, and it got me thinking, the only times I've seen that in a game is when it uses a virtual reality headset, which I know there's Star VR, and that's amazing. However, I'm not really into virtual reality as much as I was, because it's kind of just become a gimmick now with games. But I kind of ignored it at first, but then I saw a comment in the video where I found this trailer, which there'll be a link in the description for the trailer of course, and someone said, a rail shooter, seriously. Now first I ignored it, because I was like, oh, what are they on about? Is it because of how the trailer looks? But then it got me thinking, with Star VR just announced, the position of the gun and that come up, I started digging a bit deeper, and then I found something which kind of put me off a little bit, and that's the demo shown at E3 was an on-rail shooter. And for anybody who doesn't know what an on-rail shooter is, it's basically you shoot but you don't move, it moves for you, kind of like Time Crisis or House of the Dead. And I don't really like the idea of that for a game which is built to be in a house, like as in you play with a controller or on a computer. Now, I have nothing wrong with on-rail shooters itself, I prefer to play them at an arcade, but if that's what the game's focused on now, it's just going to put me off immediately. I'm hoping this is just like a special thing if you own a VR headset, just to make it a bit easier to play the game, but if that's what they're going for, this game could flop really badly. And with The Walking Dead being the title they've chosen, and if they really fuck it up, this could be a massive punch for Overkill, to a point where it could get them in a lot of financial issues depending on what the creators of The Walking Dead decide to do. Because if they made something really bad, you could see lawsuits coming out of nowhere. But this might just be a thing for the VR headsets, which I'm hoping, because I am really looking forward to this game. The idea of having a new kind of Left 4 Dead style game, but with The Walking Dead, which is one of like my favourite franchises, and because I'm a lover of zombie games, like I normally just bow to most zombie games, I just find them fun. But I'm again really hoping this game is good, because I would love to play this as well as Payday, because then I could kind of rebound off of both of them and they'd both be enjoyable to play. Now that's all I've got time for today. This is all we know basically, this is all I've got from it. So there will be a link to the article I found about the E3 demo. There'll be a link to the trailer, the original announcement from a while back. I'll also put a link to that, and if there's anything else I find, I'll probably make another video in the future about it. But until then, I'm Clicky, and thanks for listening.